Welcome back to the MG YouTube channel. I'm Malachi Greb, CEO of Elite Automation. Today we're going to dive into some Tesla or Elon Musk interviews with CNBC. Super excited to get into this. This video here is going to be on the Optimus robot. One of my bullish theses, obviously, we're an automation and robotics company. So Tesla's actually one of my hedges against my company. So my company builds automated equipment for manufacturing facilities. And to be honest, like something like the Optimus robot could potentially put us out of business. So this is part of the reason why I hedge some of my company's investment into Tesla, is just to make sure that, like, if this becomes such a big thing where we don't have traditional automation anymore, which I do not think that'll go away. I think automation will get smarter, but in the off chance that it does, and I also think that just with Tesla's growth, I think they'll be able to scale so quickly, and I'll make some extremely good money out of Tesla. I've already made some extremely good money from Tesla over the years. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing and see what Elon has to say about the Optimus robot.
Tens of billions of robots, but that's decades away.
At least 1 decade away.
It's got to be more than that.
It's going to grow very fast.
Why do you think that?
That's so bullish right there. I had to watch that over and over again because he said, at least a decade away. But he said 10 billion robots, right? That means there's basically robots everywhere that you see. Everybody that you know has a robot. He said at least a decade away. But in the way that he says that is like roughly a decade. He's not saying, and then the other guy, the interviewee or interviewer, that said it's multiple decades out. Right, and then he just like reconfirmed and said, hey, no, it's not going to be multiple decades out. It's going to be at least a decade, but I don't think it's much past that decade. And he's also saying for 10 billion robots. He's not saying for them to be actively functional or anything like that. And then he follows up and says this is going to scale pretty quickly. I'm super bullish on this. My biggest thing, if they can crack the technology and the learning side, we'll get into that here later in this video, I think. Well, let's just jump right into it.
I think humanoid robots will be the biggest product ever. The demand will be insatiable.
You've said that.
Everyone's going to want one. It's like, basically, who wouldn't want their own personal C-3PO R2-D2?
No,
everyone's going to want one.
You've said that, and your goal, you've also said, is to produce 1 million robots. I think by 2030. That's what I had you on the record as saying.
I think that's a reasonable target.
And then start toward.
So that was 1 million robots by 2030. That's quite a bit of robots. Just vehicle-wise, they haven't even produced. Well, I'm not saying they haven't produced, but that's up there with their vehicle numbers. And again, that's 2030. No telling where they're scaled at by 2031, 32, 33. Again, technology is the number one thing. Like the software side of things is the number one thing that I am hesitant on. That's the only reason why I'm not saying green light, Optimus robot's 100% a thing. It's locked in. That part has to be figured out.
Sustainable abundance, which you can get into. But I wonder, we've been talking about autonomous and how long it takes to train the automobile to be able to be the equivalent of or exceed human capabilities. But what about these robots, to the extent that how much training are they going to need to actually be able to do various different types of tasks? Isn't that something that's going to take a long time?
It's going to take a lot of compute resources, and it'll take time. I think there's certain threshold breakthroughs that we think we can achieve, where if Optimus can watch videos, YouTube videos or how-to videos or whatever, and based on that video, just like a human can, learn how to do that thing, then you really have task extensibility that is dramatic, because then it can learn anything very quickly.
One thing that I love is his approach of we just want to show the robot a video and then let the robot learn. Because one of the things that I see with the robot and the usability of the robot is if you can generalize some things, meaning doing laundry, okay? And you create it as a function. So the function of doing laundry. What all does it entail to do laundry? You need to know a small shirt, a medium shirt, a large shirt, a kid's shirt. Is this I'll say my own kids. Is this Malachi's shirt, Leah's shirt, Thomas's shirt, Jenna's shirt, Malachi's shirt? So so it can identify whose is what, right? Now, the other thing is it uses vision, right? And the vision is computer-based vision. So honestly, it can snap an image and then know and save that as, oh, this is this person's shirt. So one has to identify the different sizes. It has to identify the shirt itself. And again, if there's not identical shirts, then it can just identify the shirt itself. It doesn't even have to identify the size. If it just knows this size or this particular shirt is this particular person's article of clothing, then it doesn't even need to know the size. But again, let's say it needs to know the size because maybe you have like matching black shirts or something like that, right? So maybe it does need to know the size. Now it can know the size based off dimensions, holding it up, capturing a dimension, or it can know it by reading the tag. Again, you know, like the tag sometimes goes missing, so you do have to kind of tell by size. Again, with vision-based, it's not that complicated to hold a shirt out, and then the robot's holding the shirt out at a known position. It can capture an image and pull a dimension off of that shirt. Its height, width, you know, any dimension it wants off the shirt. So talking about just like going back to the functional tasks, even if they started teaching Optimus manually in like more of a hard-coded structure, or even if it's AI coded, but like laundry as a function, the usability of that's super high. For somebody like me that has 6 kids, like we can't even keep up with laundry. We have to have our kids, you know, do laundry, and like, well, I think parents should have their kids do that anyway. But we have our kids doing laundry. If we didn't have our kids do laundry, there's no way we could keep up with laundry. Like we would, you know, we'd have to hire like a part-time person just to do nothing but laundry for our house. And you know, something like this Optimus robot, just that one feature alone, I would pay $15,000, I'd probably pay $30,000 today if you gave me a robot that I knew for like over the next 5 years that I could use it to do laundry, or even, you know, next 10 years to do laundry. And also if you gave me the you know, confidence that you can do more functions after that. Like I bought it and it can only do laundry right now, but like next year we plan for it to be able to mow the grass, right? Just that alone would give me the confidence. But if we're talking about just the value add of just the laundry itself, you know, to me that's worth the $15,000-$30,000. I'm in a little bit different position than a lot of people, but because of just operating companies, and I have to stay super focused on the things that I have in front of me. But yeah, I think there's so many people that would pay for that. I mean, we pay $40,000, $30,000, $50,000 for vehicles that are that do one function, and that's drive us around, get us from place to place. So let's jump back into the video. Too much rambling.
I think we'll get there in the next.
We're not there yet, though.
We're not there yet.
You're relying on a significant uptick in terms of learning and training.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm calling it a very significant threshold. Would be
understood
the ability to learn from watching a video. Just so
right.
But at the point
as opposed to watching a human, right? Which is, or having a human sort of train it right now with a task.
I mean. Right now, we're training Optimus to do like primitive tasks where a human in a kind of a what's called a mocap suit is.
So basically, everything that they've trained the robot with right now is in this mocap suit. Again, I don't know if they're mechanically training this robot like hard top positions, or they're just saying, "Hey, kind of mimic me in what I'm doing," and then it's kind of learning some mimicking, aka learning functionality through like more of an AI type of model, or if it's more of a hard-coded like this line, this line, this line, this line, to like basically hard code that robot to perform the functions that it's doing. Because one thing that Tesla has to do is it has to keep people excited about the Optimus robot. So even if they're generically programming the robot and it's not like AI and learning on its own, they gotta at least keep the community and the population excited about the Optimus robot, so that way we can continue to invest into it, feel optimism about it, and help drive and push that dream forward.
And sort of cameras on the head is moving in the way that the robot would move to, say, pick up an object or open a door, or the basic tasks, throw a ball, dance, and we need to I think that's needed to sort of bootstrap the intelligence so you can have the basic functions. Then where I think it gets very interesting and very much like humans is that you want the robot to self-play. So you say, how does a child learn? Well, a child has toys, and a child plays with the toys, plays with the blocks, at some point figures out how to put the triangle in the triangle hole and the circle in the circle hole by doing it over and over again. And this self-play, once you have a lot of robots, you can do this self-play, which is that you just put the robot in a room with toys and have the robot literally have the robot play with toys.
And it will learn.
Yeah. And you have to have a reward function. Say like, okay, the goal of the robot is to put, that classic child's toy. You put the circle in the circle hole, the square in the square hole, triangle in the triangle hole, and keep doing it until it works. And the reward function is succeeding. And
there are no advances needed to accomplish that now? I mean, no advances in AI or just compute and things of that nature that can happen?
There are some advances needed, but I don't think these are insurmountable. I think we can solve these things in the next few years.
All right, so that wraps that up. One thing that wasn't really mentioned there, but it was the data side of things. Between like Tesla and XAI, the data centers and stuff that they're building out for like neural net and AI like learning and training and stuff like that is some of the top in the world, like literally the top 5 in the entire world for building out data centers. And not only that, but I think it was XAI just added a bunch of their mega packs, which is basically battery backups, to be able to have enough power at their facility in order to run the AI models. And also too, if ever there's any outages of powers and stuff like that, they can keep training while other people's are not able to train, and computers shut down and maybe they take a whole day to ramp back up again. Just having that data security there, or that power security, and be able to keep staying up and running is it's just completely different than what you're seeing on the market. Now again, that business is performing really well for Tesla, so Tesla has a battery storage business, if you didn't know that. So that business is performing really well, and a lot of companies are, instead of doing generators, they're doing this battery backup system because it can kick on instantaneously, and you can have no power outages. And if you have no power outages, if you're in manufacturing settings or anything that's a sensitive operation, you can't have power lost to your equipment and then power come back on, because a lot of times that can cause hours of downtime. Just as one little simple power on, like a brownout is what you would call that. But that can cause hours and hours and hours of downtime to equipment and manufacturing facilities or offices. And so something like this, just one outage of, let's say, 50,000 employees at an office or something like that, one outage, and you not actually lose power and everybody's computers shut off and they have to all boot back up. I mean, what's 1 hour of people booting their computer back up for 50,000 employees? You know what I mean? You get to millions of dollars very, very quickly just on one incident. And that's not even including if there's any multi-hour outages or anything like that. So generators can solve a lot of those problems anyway, but if you have the battery backups, at least as a buffer to get you through a 30-minute brownout while you have your outside generators kick on, it's just a solution for that. Different topic, different video. Hopefully this was Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if there's any other Optimus related topics you'd like for me to discuss on. Also, I'm interested in being on other people's YouTube channels to talk about Optimus, to talk about manufacturing, to talk about Tesla. With me having a robotics and manufacturing background, it's been my entire career in this space. I feel like we can have some good conversations on these topics, and look forward to it. Catch you on the next one.